When a new AI model launches, the headlines focus on what it can do: smarter reasoning, faster responses, better coding, more natural conversation. What rarely gets discussed is what it costs to build that model in the first place, and the hidden cost of training the next generation of AI models is becoming one of the most important forces shaping the tech industry. Because training frontier AI is no longer just expensive, it's structurally transformative. First, let's talk about compute. Training cutting-edge AI models requires enormous clusters of advanced GPUs running simultaneously for weeks or even months. These clusters often consist of tens of thousands of accelerators connected through high-speed interconnect systems. Each GPU costs tens of thousands of dollars. Multiply that by thousands. Then add networking equipment, storage systems, redundancy layers, and facility overhead. The upfront capital expense alone can reach into the billions, and that's just the hardware. Second, energy consumption is staggering. AI training clusters consume vast amounts of electricity. Not only do the GPUs require power, but the cooling systems that keep them from overheating also draw significant energy. Training a single frontier model can consume as much electricity as small towns use in a year. As models grow larger and more complex, energy demand scales accordingly. That has both financial and environmental implications. Electricity costs directly impact training budgets, and in regions where power availability is constrained, energy becomes a bottleneck. Third, opportunity cost is rising. When companies allocate tens of thousands of GPUs to train a new model, those chips cannot be used for revenue-generating inference tasks during that period. Training consumes capacity that could otherwise serve customers. The decision to train a next-generation model is therefore a strategic capital allocation choice. Is the long-term advantage worth the short-term revenue trade-off? Fourth, talent concentration increases cost. Training large AI systems requires highly specialized teams: researchers, engineers, data scientists, distributed systems experts. These professionals are scarce and expensive. Compensation packages for elite AI researchers are substantial. As competition intensifies, retaining top talent adds another layer of financial pressure. Fifth, data acquisition and curation are not free. Large AI models require massive datasets. Cleaning, labeling, filtering, and aligning that data requires infrastructure and human oversight. As regulatory scrutiny increases, ensuring compliance with copyright, privacy, and data usage laws adds legal complexity. Legal risk management is now part of the training cost equation. Sixth, diminishing returns are emerging. Each successive generation of models requires disproportionately more compute for incremental performance gains. The easy gains have already been captured. Pushing performance forward now demands exponentially larger training runs. That increases cost per percentage point of improvement. At some point, marginal benefit must justify marginal cost. Seventh, infrastructure depreciation matters. AI hardware evolves rapidly. By the time a company finishes training one generation of models, new chip architectures may already be emerging. That shortens depreciation timelines. Capital invested in massive clusters must be amortized quickly. Otherwise, competitive advantage fades. Eighth, cooling and facility upgrades add hidden layers. Training clusters often require liquid cooling systems, reinforced power distribution, and specialized building layouts. Data center retrofits are expensive. New builds require land, permits, and multi-year construction timelines. The cost of physical infrastructure can rival hardware expenses. Ninth, regulatory exposure is increasing. As AI systems become more powerful, governments are considering oversight frameworks. Compliance with emerging safety, transparency, and reporting standards adds operational overhead. Companies must invest in monitoring, testing, and documentation. Training costs now include governance. 10th, security becomes critical. Large AI training runs involve valuable intellectual property. Protecting models, data, and infrastructure from cyber threats requires robust security systems. Security infrastructure is an additional layer of expense. 11th, model alignment and safety fine-tuning extend timelines. Training does not end when raw performance peaks. Fine-tuning for safety, bias mitigation, and alignment requires additional compute and human review. This post-training phase adds weeks or months to deployment timelines. Time is money in competitive markets. 12th, capital concentration reshapes competition. Only a handful of companies can afford to train the largest frontier models. This consolidates power among firms with deep balance sheets and strong infrastructure. Startups face immense barriers to entry at the frontier level. The cost structure itself influences market dynamics. 13th, investor expectations amplify pressure. Markets reward visible. AI progress. Companies feel compelled to invest aggressively in next-generation models to signal leadership. That can drive escalating compute budgets. But those investments must eventually produce monetizable returns. Otherwise, financial strain builds. 14th, environmental scrutiny grows louder. As energy consumption rises, questions about sustainability intensify. Companies must invest in renewable energy contracts or carbon offset programs to maintain public trust. Those costs indirectly attach to training cycles. So what is the hidden cost of training the next generation of AI models? It's not just dollars spent on GPUs. It's electricity at scale, it's capital locked into hardware, it's talent wars, it's infrastructure upgrades, it's legal compliance, it's security investment, it's opportunity cost. It's the economic barrier that determines who can compete at the frontier. As AI becomes central to the global economy, training costs influence strategic decisions. Some companies may focus on efficiency, improving models without exponential compute growth. Others may double down on scale, betting that performance leadership justifies cost. But one thing is clear: the era of just train a bigger model is becoming financially and operationally complex. Behind every impressive AI breakthrough is an invisible mountain of capital, energy, and coordination, and as those hidden costs rise, they will shape the future direction of the entire AI industry. Because in 2026, intelligence isn't just about algorithms, it's about infrastructure and who can afford it.